This is so hilarious. So I decided to watch CNN during the break. Trump went to the FBI today. We have the sound bites coming up in the monologue segment of the next hour. Trump went to the FBI today, and he hammered the FBI, and he hammered the news media again. He did what he does. He's consistent in hammering who he hammers. It was the graduating class at Quantico, and he promised them to clean up the FBI and to fix it, that it's in tatters. He talked about the fake investigation into him with the media before getting on a helicopter to fly down to Quantico. CNN is beside themselves. They can't believe this. You had Wolf Blitzer. You had A.B. Stoddard. You had Dana Bash. And they're wringing their hands over this. Is horrible. This president, he is attacking institutions that are delineated in the Constitution. He's attacking the FBI. He's attacking the Department of Justice. He's attacking the news media, hard-working reporters. He points at their faces when he says fake news. And they're just beside themselves that the Republicans will not respond and tell Trump to shut up. A.B. Stoddard says, when you talk to Republicans in private, they tell you how they hate it and they don't like what Trump does, but they won't say anything public about it. And I'm watching this, and I'm thinking, you people think you've got a license because you're mentioned in the First Amendment to lie? You have a license to destroy people who are your political opponents. You have a license to lie, to use fake information like the Trump dossier. You have the right to promote what you know to be fraudulent stuff as news. And then when somebody calls you out on it, they are the bad guy. What? You are supposed to be left alone. You can lie and destroy and promote whatever you want. And nobody, and especially the targets, nobody can respond to you. They're supposed to just stand aside and let you destroy them. They're supposed to just stand aside and let you lie about them. They're just supposed to stand aside while you whittle them down to nothing. And that's the attitude they all seem to convey here. You can't attack us. We're journalists. You can't criticize it. And he's criticizing all of these institutions. They're corrupt, for crying out loud. It's why he's elected. The left has corrupted everything they've touched. You'll hear, we got the Trump soundbites at the FBI coming up. Yeah, we're learning that the Comey, remember that July 5th press conference where he told everybody that what she did, Hillary, didn't rise to being prosecutable. And it turns out that his original draft on this used exact language from the statutes that detail prosecution. And it Strzok went in there and modified it and softened the language describing what Hillary had done. They were clearly trying to protect her. Now, it may have been because they didn't think they really had the goods on her if they did prosecute, but I don't think that's it. I don't think they had any intention of prosecuting. She was their gal, number one. Number two, I don't care about anything. I just don't believe these people wanted to be responsible for taking out a presidential candidate. I mean, they didn't want to be seen as the entity that did that. They were trying to take Trump out. Don't misunderstand me. But they were structuring that so that it looked like Trump took himself out because he was a dirtbag. And they were clearly protecting Hillary. But I don't think any of these people wanted to have it blamed on them. They didn't want the responsibility for having denied a particular party its nominee that resulted from millions of votes cast during primaries. But now they're trying to do just that. They're trying to nullify the presidential election. And remember, they never thought Trump was going to win. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. We'll get there eventually. We're going to start with the Trumpster. The Trumpster left the White House today on his way to Quantico, Virginia, and the FBI Academy. It's the FBI National Academy graduation. New agents were graduating today. And he stopped on the way to the helicopter to Marine One, and he talked to the press, and he launched again. He told them that he thinks this Russia thing, there's nothing there. It's collusion, that any collusion, it was between the Democrats and the Russians. And he fired both barrels at the media. The one thing they can't say is that Trump doesn't need the press. I mean, he talks to the press more than any president we can remember in our lifetimes. So anyway, he sets the table by just launching with the White House press corps outside on the way to the helicopter, then gets down to Quantico. And we have 3 sound bites from his speech at the FBI graduating ceremony.
Both terrorists came to our country through the dysfunctional immigration system that we are correcting, and rapidly. And one came through chain migration. The other, visa lottery. Do you think the country's given us their best people? No. What kind of a system is that? They give us their worst people, they put them in a bin, but in his hand, when he's picking them, is really the worst of the worst. Congratulations, you're going to the United States. Okay. What a system, lottery system. We're calling for Congress to end chain migration and to end the visa lottery system and replace it with a merit-based system of immigration.
Whoa, you hear it? The FBI graduates are applauding it. You should have seen, by the way, I misspoke. That's the one soundbite we have from the speech to the graduates of the FBI Academy. The others are actually from the press gaggle, the White House lawn before he gets in the helicopter. But you hear this. These agents applauded this. Trump's remarks there are why he got elected. That's right off of his campaign, or right out of his campaign. The reasons he was elected, and he needs to remain focused on those things. Because they work every time they're tried. Now, this is on the White House lawn. Trump making his way to the helicopter on his way to the FBI commencement ceremony.
It's a shame what's happened with the FBI, but we're going to rebuild the FBI. It'll be bigger and better than ever. But it is very sad when you look at those documents, and how they've done that is really, really disgraceful. And you have a lot of very angry people that are seeing it. It's a very sad thing to watch, I will tell you that. And I'm going today on behalf of the FBI, their new building. And, you know, when everybody, not me, when everybody, the level of anger at what they've been witnessing with respect to the FBI is certainly very sad.
Now, I could be mistaken because his speech was on here during the prep period before the program. I could swear he said some of this in his FBI speech. Maybe not, but I'm pretty sure he did. And it was remarked on. I mean, CNN people blowing a gasket over here over what Trump said today. And I'm sure some of it was at the graduation ceremony, but certainly there. So he's got a little press gaggle outside the White House on the way to the helicopter, and he's just unloading. Here's the next soundbite.
There is absolutely no collusion. That has been proven. When you look at the committees, whether it's the Senate or the House, my worst enemies, they walk out, they say, there is no collusion, but we'll continue to look. They're spending millions and millions of dollars. There is absolutely no collusion. I didn't make a phone call to Russia. I have nothing to do with Russia. Everybody knows it. That was a Democrat hoax. It was an excuse for losing the election, and it should have never been this way where they spent all these millions of dollars. That was a rigged system, folks. That was a rigged system. When you look at what they did with respect to the Hillary Clinton investigation, it was rigged. And there's never been anything like it in this country that we've ever found before. It's very, very sad.
You know, it sounds like he was listening to this program yesterday. I mean, even from calling this thing a hoax, which I've been doing all week. No, don't misunderstand. I'm just saying it sounds familiar. Regardless, he is fired up, as he should be. This is so illegitimate. Look, I'm not going to waste any more time characterizing this. I've done it all week. But I am livid over this. That didn't happen, which is still dominating and shaping 90% of the news every day. Something that did not happen. And what did happen is being ignored. Hillary and the FBI and the DOJ colluding with the Russians to help her win the presidency. Here's one more Trump on the White House lawn before getting on board Marine One to go down the FBI account.
I don't want to talk about pardons for Michael Flynn yet. We'll see what happens. I can say this. When you look at what's gone on with the FBI and with the Justice Department, people are very, very angry.
He was asked if he would consider a pardon for Flynn. He said, I don't want to talk about pardons for Michael Flynn yet. We'll see what happens. Jim Kallstrom is the former director of the New York office of the FBI. He is a founding member of the Marine Corps Law Enforcement Foundation, which is a charity that we here at the EIB Network and the Rush Revere Time Travel Adventures with Exceptional Americans completely support. We donate money, we raise money for them. They provide college scholarships for the children of Marines killed in action and other branches during national emergencies. Kallstrom is a former Marine. He is a dyed-in-the-wool, acknowledged patriot. He's a former FBI director, and he is worried about what is happening to the FBI. In the FBI, the people I knew in the FBI were Vietnam War vets, many of them, and they came back. They got in law enforcement. Some of them went to the FBI as agents. Kallstrom rose up the ranks of the top executive in the New York office. Many of them are at the FBI in various, the people I knew and know, and they're a different breed. I mean, you would not read about this kind of stuff with them. You wouldn't read about people like Jim Kallstrom and people that worked for him discussing how to undermine a political candidate in the office of the Deputy Attorney General and the Deputy Director of the FBI. You just wouldn't. These guys didn't go there. But they're plenty political. I mean, they're plenty partisan. They have their political opinions, but they held the FBI in the greatest, highest esteem. It was to them, it was impenetrable. The integrity and its reputation, they would do nothing to sully it. And they're dismayed by what is happening. Kallstrom last night was on Risk and Reward on the Fox Business Network with Elizabeth McDonald. She said, what can an FBI agent do to stop a president from getting elected?
He can do what this guy tried to do. He can fabricate things. He can make up stuff. He can lie. He can be a total moron. He can recruit others. You know, he belongs in Leavenworth, this guy. He belongs behind bars, this guy. These things cannot happen in a democracy, particularly in the FBI. But it's not the FBI. I beg the American people, don't condemn the FBI. Condemn these people that have went way, way off the rails here and, need to be dealt with severely, in my view.
He's talking about Peter Strzok there. Strzok, who we now know edited Comey's comments on Hillary and was exchanging text messages with his mistress and devising plans to screw Trump and to have an insurance policy in case Trump won. And you heard him there. This guy belongs in Leavenworth. And it's not the FBI. I beg the American people, don't condemn the FBI. Condemn these people. Because I'm telling you, this kind of stuff, never, you would never have seen the FBI colluding with a political operative and then helping create the idea that it was genuine intelligence. You would have never had Jim Kallstrom presiding over such a thing. It would never have been allowed. Which is what I mean. The left, Democrats, whatever you want to call these people, have just corrupted everything they've touched by virtue of politicizing it with their own personal political beliefs and dreams. Now, here's a setup for the story on Comey's remarks being edited. This is last night on the 5 at the Fox News Channel. Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Herridge reported the changes made to Comey's statement exonerating Hillary in the use of her private email server.
They made a change about the likelihood that a hostile actor was able to penetrate Hillary Clinton's email server. And the original draft said that given the combination of factors, so it's talking about the lack of security with the server and the fact that it was a target, we assess it is reasonably likely that hostile actors gained access to Secretary Clinton's private email account. And in the public statement by Director Comey, that was downgraded to the term possible that they accessed the Clinton email server and the hundreds of classified messages that it contained.
So let's go through this, because this appears to be proof of how stroke watered down Comey's statement exonerating Hillary. And if it's true, it should be the blockbuster news of the day. But since it's more bad news for the Mueller witch hunt, the drive-bys will ignore it. So this is Fox. It's Catherine Herridge. The headline, Comey edits revealed, remarks on Clinton probe were watered down. Newly released documents obtained by Fox News reveal that then-Director Comey's draft statement on the Hillary email probe was edited a bunch of times before his public announcement, that was that July 5th press conference, in ways that seemed to water down the FBI's findings considerably. Senator Ron Johnson, Republican Wisconsin, chairman of the Senate Homeland Security Committee, sent a letter to the FBI yesterday that shows the multiple edits to Comey's highly scrutinized statement. For example, in an early draft, Comey said it was reasonably likely that hostile actors gained access to Hillary's private account. That was changed to say the scenario was possible. Reasonably likely changed to possible. Now, this is significant for two reasons. And we pointed out that by using a completely unsecured private server that did not even require a password, Hillary exposed compartmentalized national security secrets. Even the Obama team of Comey, Brennan, Clapper are on record saying it's very likely her server was breached by foreign interests. There was another edit. Showed language changed to describe the actions of Clinton and her colleagues as extremely careless as opposed to grossly negligent. Now, the reason that's important, gross negligence is in the statute. Gross negligence triggers charges. Despite what Comey said about there being no intent, they edited, and they think it was Stroke that did this. They edited grossly negligent out and replaced it with extremely careless. And that's what Comey said. It's just careless. Just extremely careless. She didn't really know. She wasn't paying close enough attention. She had no intent, as opposed to grossly negligent, which is a huge difference, a major indictment of her behavior. And that, as I said, it's a key legal distinction. Stroh's edits turned the FBI's original list of Hillary's many crimes and the need for her to be prosecuted into a call for her to be exonerated. They had the goods. And the editing of the statement turned this from a case needing to be prosecuted to a situation where, hey, you know what, we can exonerate her. She really didn't have any intent, because they downplayed what she really did. And it was Strzok who had the mistress and the texting back and forth that did the edits. Everybody also seems to be forgetting that Loretta Lynch could have overruled all of this. She could have overruled Comey's decision not to prosecute, but she chose not to. And then there's this piece at New York Magazine. Oh, I got to take a break, folks. I just saw it. Back here in just a second. Don't go away. Okay, grab soundbite number 23. This is Wolf Blitzer and A.B. Stoddard, just worried as hell over what Trump said on the White House lawn before getting on a helicopter to go down to the FBI Academy at Quantico.
When he goes after the FBI, when he goes after the U.S. intelligence community, when he goes after the news media, these are basic, pillars.
I think the most astounding thing has been to watch the Republicans turn away from the opportunity to push back when he tries to undermine our institutions. They took an oath in Congress to the Constitution, not to a president. And when you talk to them privately, they moan and groan about exactly what we're talking about. Where were they when he said the FBI was in tatters? Did anyone stick up for the FBI?
Well, why should they? The thing that amazes me about this, these people really think that they are immune from any criticism. And any criticism of them is a criticism of a pillar of our foundation. And it is not permitted. You're supposed to shut up and take it like George W. Bush did. You're not supposed to push back against. And when you do, you're the problem. You're undermining institutions instead of these people attempting to undermine the will of the people. Back in a second.